Put out your fire. Above the stars out tonight. You shine bright as this. This is for all the girls, boys all over the world. Whatever you've been told, you're worth more than gold. So hold your head up high. It's your time to shine. From the inside out it shows. You're worth more than gold. You're worth more than gold. So don't let anybody tell you that you're not loved, and don't let anybody tell you that you're not enough. Yeah, there are days when we all feel like we're messed up, but the truth is that we're all diamonds in the rough. So don't be ashamed to wear your crown. You're a king, you're a queen, inside and out. You glow like the moon, you shine like the stars. This is for you, wherever you This is for all the girls, boys all over the world. Whatever you've been told, you're worth more than gold. So hold your head up high. It's your time to shine. From the inside out it shows. You're worth more than gold. You're worth more than gold. So don't be ashamed to wear your crown. You're a king, you're a queen, inside and out.
Hit rewind, click delete. Stand face to face with the younger me. All of the mistakes, all of the heartbreak. Here's what I do differently. I'd love like I'm not scared. Give when it's not fair. Live life for another. Take time for a brother. Fight for the weak ones. Speak out for freedom. Find faith in the battle. Stand tall but above it all. Fix my eyes on you. On you. I learned the lines and talked the talk. Everybody knows it, everybody knows it. The road less traveled is hard to walk. Everybody knows it, everybody knows. It takes a soldier who knows his orders to walk the walk I'm supposed to walk. And love like I'm not scared. Give when it's not fair. Live life for another. Take time for a brother. Fight for the weak ones. Speak out for freedom. Find faith in the battle. Stand tall but above it all. Fix my eyes on you. On you. The things of earth are dim in the light of your glory and grace. I'll set my sights upon heaven. I'm fixing my eyes on you. I'm fixing my eyes on you. On you. was stuck, I was running around broken hearted. I was sinking so fast, I couldn't last, falling apart. And you could've run away, leaving me there in my shame, leaving me fighting my pain, but you made a better way. I've been saved, goodbye to the sinner. I'm held by the Father above. No more shame, fall out of the desert and drown in the power of love. Amazing grace, my soul set free. Ain't no grave got a hold on me. I'm born again, washed by the water, I'm clean. My eyes have been open, you're showing me all of my life in a new light. Every step, every breath, like it's the first time. You could've run away, leaving me there in my shame, leaving me fighting my pain, but you made a better way. I've been saved, goodbye to the sinner. I'm held by the Father above. No more shame, fall out of the desert and drown in the power of love. Amazing grace, my soul set free. Ain't no grave got a hold on me. I'm born again, washed by the water, I'm clean. Preacher told me the good news. When way down deep in the river blue. Preacher told me the good news. And ever since my heart met you, I've been saved. Goodbye to the sinner. I'm held by the Father above. No more shame, fall out of the desert and drown in the power of love. Amazing grace, my soul set free. Ain't no grave got a hold on me.
I've been hearing symphonies, and before all I heard was silence, a rhapsody for you and me, and every melody is timeless. Life was stringing me along, but then you came and you cut me loose, was solo singing on my own. Now I can't find the key without you. Now your song is on repeat, and I'm dancing on to your heartbeat. And when you're gone, I feel incomplete. So if you want the truth, I just wanna be part of your symphony. Will you hold me tight and not let go? Symphony, like a love song on the radio. Will you hold me tight and not let go? I'm sorry if it's all too much, but every day you're here, I'm healing. Now I was running out of love. I never thought I'd find this feeling, 'cause I've been hearing symphonies, before all I heard was silence. A rhapsody for you and me, and every melody is timeless. And now your song is on repeat, and I'm dancing on to your heartbeat. And when you're gone, I feel incomplete. So if you want the truth, I just wanna be part of your symphony. Will you hold me tight and not let go? Symphony, like a love song on the radio. Will you hold me tight and not let go?
Well, welcome today. Welcome to Welcome Back Sunday at Forest City Community Church. So excited about this day on so many respects. This is a season of welcome backs. Tomorrow there's going to be all kinds of students who are going to be going back into their classes, and teachers are going to be saying welcome back. Parents are going to be going, I'm so glad they're back. It's a time of welcome back. And I want to say welcome back whether you're in the room today with our live option experience or what you're watching online. And maybe you've been part of this church for a long time, or maybe it's new for you and you've started to become a person and a part of Forest City Community Church. However you are connected to this beautiful family, I want to say welcome back. Welcome Back Sunday. And we're going to start this Sunday like we start every Sunday. We're going to start with some great worship, and we're going to re-engage our hearts to God and His purpose in our lives. So let's do that right now.
Well, we're so excited to have you join us today. And we're going to sing some songs right now, a couple of choruses, and if you feel you want to join in, please do so. Thank you so much. Thanks so much for joining us. I'll just settle back and enjoy the rest of the service.
Oh, didn't mean to startle you.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I'll be on my way.
No, it's okay. Sit.
No, I'm just leaving.
Well, you're welcome to sit. I've just got to put this in the car. Beautiful night, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Startle you again, didn't I?
No, I was just leaving.
No, you're welcome to stay. I've just got to grab a few things.
Do you need some help?
Not unless you can play guitar.
Play guitar? Did you say play guitar?
Yeah. I'm the music director here. I'm always looking for new musicians.
I'm sorry, I don't play.
Oh, too bad. We had practice tonight, and some of those singers sure can bake. You've got to try Doreen's cookies.
Sounds like you guys have a lot of fun here.
Yeah, we do. Sometimes rehearsals go real late, and I've got to stay and clean up and lock up, and then I end up playing custodian too.
You're not the minister too, are you?
Oh, no.
Wow. Sure sounds like they keep you busy.
Oh, yeah, they do. And you? What keeps you busy?
Well, job, the family.
Oh, how many kids do you have?
3. I have twin sons that are 19 and a daughter who's 17.
Ooh, teenagers.
Yeah.
You are busy.
Yeah. My daughter loves to sing. Drives her brothers crazy.
Sounds like a recruit for my music team.
Yeah, she probably loved that.
Oh, it sounds like you have a nice family.
I got a great family.
So, what do you do for a living?
I'm a marketing manager.
Enjoy your work?
I do. Been with the same company for 18 years now.
Wow, that's a long time these days.
It's a great job.
So, what got you out of your car tonight?
Sorry?
No, I've seen you out here in your car a couple times when I was locking up, and just wondering what got you out of your car tonight.
I didn't realize I was being watched.
Well, no, it's just when the band runs late, I always end up locking up and cleaning up, and I noticed you in your car a couple times, and I thought, I don't know if this guy's scoping out the place to rob it or what was going on. So, but then I just kind of realized that you were just scoping.
Scoping? Is that what you call it?
Yeah. What would you call it?
I don't know. Frustrating comes to mind.
What's the problem?
Exactly. What is the problem? Something's not right, but I don't know what it is. My wife, Julie, she thinks I'm having a midlife crisis. The doctor can't find a thing wrong with me. My buddies just think I need to loosen up and color outside the lines a bit.
And what do you think?
Well, I think my marriage is in pretty good shape after 25 years. My kids love me and I love them. I got a great job, one that I don't hate going to every day. Got a 4-bedroom house, 2 fairly new cars, a dog, 3 fish. Life's perfect.
That does sound pretty good.
Yeah. So what am I doing out driving around after work and talking to a complete stranger? It just feels like I'm missing something. Like I've missed something along the way, and I don't know what it is. And I feel like I'm running out of time. I'm just so sick of thinking. Look, I'm sorry for going on like this.
Well, it's okay. I have time. Go ahead.
It's as if I'm sitting in a room and the lights are getting dim, and soon I'm going to be blind and I'm not going to be able to see. I'm running out of time, and I just don't know what to do about it. So I get in my car and I drive, and sometimes I end up here.
And what do you do when you get here?
I just sit. Sometimes in the car, sometimes here on the curb. I just sit. waiting for things to clear up. Maybe get some clarity as to where I'm headed.
Have you ever been inside?
No, that's just it. I don't come here. I'm not religious. Hey, except for weddings and funerals, I haven't been to church since the 8th grade with Kevin Finney. I don't go to church.
And yet here you sit.
Like I said, nothing's making any sense these days. Well, I should really get going.
Well, if you ever do decide to go inside and you're looking for a familiar face, I'll be there. It's where I go to sit and work things out.
And do you?
What, figure things out? Yeah, I guess in time.
Well, maybe someday.
Well, I look forward to it.
Yeah, well, I should be getting home.
Yeah, if I don't get home soon, my wife's going to call the cops.
Well, thanks for talking.
Sure. Good night.
Good night.
Hey, feel free to stay as long as you like.
Friday, came home, waved to a neighbor I don't know, smiled at me and I believe he was doing just fine, but his eyes can't lie, something tearing him up on the inside. I wonder what it is, I should ask him. Oh, but I got my own life, will I pass by, or am I gonna take the time? This is what we're here for, to show the world how you love it. This is what we're made for, to lay it all down like you did. When we feel useless, you still use us. Oh, help us not forget, this is what we're here. Slow down, reach out, take a better look around. Just a little bit of time can change a life. So I won't walk by, leave it up to the next guy. I want to be what I believe all the time. I've got my own life, but it's not mine. No, this is what we're here for, to show the world how you love it. This is what we're made
This is what we're made for. I love that song. I love some of the images about that as well as the drama, because it kind of reminds us about what we're called to be as followers of Jesus. And so I'm so glad that we're all taking that in. And that's what we often do on a morning like this, is welcome back. Sort of helps us. We've been disconnected for the summer. COVID has disconnected us even more. But this is a chance for us to welcome back and to be reminded of what we're here for. Listen, I have no announcements today because I'm going to do the announcements a little different. They're going to actually kind of show up in a bit of a different way through the talk. So what I'm just going to first of all say is I'm just going to say a little bit about the offering. I want to say thank you for the generosity that so many of you have continued and continue to have toward the ministry of this church. And things are just getting busier, and offerings and gifts are more important than ever. So thank you for that, however you're able to do that online or even here physically. So before we have the offering time, let me say a prayer. Lord, thank you for this morning. I just keep thinking a little bit about that drama sketch because it symbolizes how I know many people even found their way into this church, Forest City Community Church. How many people found themselves at a bit of a loss in life, disconnected from you, but in a strange way receptive to the love of your Son, Jesus. And Lord, I thank you for this heartbeat that we have as a church to live in such a way to try to help people disconnected from you to come to experience the best news ever given. And that's the message and the gift of your Son, Jesus, in our lives. So Lord, bless us as we think about that this morning. Bless our church as we reconnect on a morning like this and relaunch for the fall. And now bless us even as we get a chance again to participate in what you're doing in this world by generously giving back in the ways that you have given us, even financially. We pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.
I'm still standing by a power beyond my understanding. Oh, so many times when my heart crash landed, I get stuck sometimes, but I'm never stranded. Yeah, yeah, you never said there won't be pain, and I felt my share of fight and rain, but I trust in you. The tide may rise, the ground might shake, but my hope comes when I call your name, and my hopes renewed. Where can I go when life falls heavy and fear is thundering? Lord, you cover me. I know my best protection is right in front of me, so I'm gonna be running to my shelter, running to my shelter. You're holding me together. I'm running to my shelter. Hey. Sirens warning.
Well, listen, once again, I want to say welcome back to Welcome Back Sunday. You know, this past week I was thinking a little bit about how different this Welcome Back Sunday is in this COVID-shaped world that we're all living in. Because usually this would be one of these mornings at Forest City Community Church where you would come and something would be different. First of all, whether you're here at the Central Campus or you're at the East Campus, the traffic lines would be longer than normal. And the traffic lines coming in and going out would be longer than normal. And you, those of you who have kids, your kids would probably be saying to you as the mom or you as the dad, just relax, Dad, we're going to church. Mom, you shouldn't say that kind of a word. We just left church. Okay? It would have been one of those mornings that you've needed to have greater patience on the driveways. It'd also be one of these mornings that's a little different, because you would also experience this reality at church where it'd be harder to probably find a seat. Might be harder to find a seat or a bunch of seats if you're with friends. And the other thing about this kind of a morning that's always different is there's always food. There's cookies, there's cupcakes, there's chocolate. And I watched this over the years, and I notice how some people are like very disciplined about that. They don't have any, they're just disciplined. They're like hardcore, I'm not eating that junk in my body. And then a lot of people are going, well, I'll have one, and a lot of people do have one. And then I always notice there are some people who have multiple portions. Some people I watch, they even stuff their pockets as they're leaving. It's disgusting, okay? It's embarrassing to me. But that's how a regular Welcome Back Sunday happens at Forest City Community Church. That's welcome back in usual times. But we all know we're not living in usual times. And so much about our lives right now are unusual. And here's one thing I think we all know to be true, and that is that unusual circumstances call for exceptional creativity. Unusual circumstances call for exceptional creativity. I've always loved the story about an older man who lived alone. And his only son was a man named Bill, and his son Bill, unfortunately, was in prison. And that left this man with a big problem because he had this big tract of land that he usually farmed, and he wanted to turn the soil on the property to put in his potato garden. But it was really hard work, and his only son Bill used to help him with this, but obviously he couldn't now because he was in prison. And one day the old man wrote a letter to his son, and this is what it said. It said, "Dear Bill, I am feeling pretty bad because it looks like I won't be able to plant my potato garden this year. The ground is really hard, and I'm just getting too old to be digging up a garden plot. If you were here, all my troubles would be over. I know you would dig the plot for me. Love, Dad." Well, he sent that letter, and a few days later, he got a letter back from his son. And this letter said, "Dear Dad, for heaven's sake, Dad, don't dig up that garden. That's where I buried the bodies. Love, Bill." At 4 a.m. the next morning, federal agents and local police showed up and dug up the entire area without finding any bodies. They apologized to the old man and they left. A couple of days later, the old man received another letter back from his son, and this one said, "Dear Dad, go ahead and plant the potatoes now. It's the best I could do under the circumstances. Love, Bill." Unusual circumstances call for exceptional creativity. And the same thing is true for us as a church, as we're living in this unusual time, these unusual circumstances that we're all living in. And I want to talk to you about how we're creatively adapting as a church on this Welcome Back Sunday. And I want to get really practical this morning on how you can re-engage in the life and the mission and the community of Forest City Community Church over the coming months. Or, if you're newer to Forest City Community Church, how you can engage in it for the very first time. But I want to anchor it in these amazing words that Jesus once spoke. We are in this brand new series right now called Red Letter. In a lot of Bibles, and maybe if you've got a Bible at home, you might find one of them or some of them, they have the words of Jesus printed in red letters. And it's not because the rest of the Bible is sort of the Word of God and the words of Jesus are really the Word of God. No, the whole Bible is the Word of God. But there's something striking and direct and utterly compelling about so many of the things that Jesus said. And so we're going to, this fall, start looking at some of those red letter phrases that Jesus spoke 2,000 years ago, because they are as powerful and high impacting and life-changing as they were when he first spoke them. And one of the most astonishing red letter moments in all of the Bible is found in Matthew 16, verse 18. Jesus said this. He said, "I will build my church, and the gates of Hades will not prevail or overcome it." Now, I never understood this verse so clearly until the very first time I went to the Holy Land. And I saw this place where Jesus actually said these words. Matthew tells us that the place is called Caesarea Philippi. And I'm going to get a little nerdy for a moment here with you, but I think it'll help you. Because this area has actually been excavated by archaeologists, and the ruins of this historic place tells an amazing story. It's in northern Galilee, the foothills of the mountains, and the most remarkable thing about Caesarea Philippi is that it was the Roman Empire built a strategic city when they ruled and they occupied the nation of Israel during Jesus' time. And I want to show you a picture of what it looked like. Now, you see in this picture, there is this area where this massive rock, and in front of the rock there are these buildings and areas for people as well as these gathering places. And there's a building at the very left. I want you just to remember that particular building, and I'm going to talk about that in just a moment as it's facing into the rock. So in this, you see all in front of the rock, there are these amazing temples that once stood where when Jesus said these words, and these temples were temples to the great religions and the great powers of that day, ancient pagan idols, and even worship of the Roman emperors who ruled the world, and all the powers that seemed to be unstoppable were conveyed in this place. And the second reason that this place was so famous is that temple on the left that I pointed at it actually covered an ancient cave, a big cave-like opening in the massive rock on the left, and that massive hole was called the gates of Hades, and here's a picture of it right now. So this is what it actually looks like right now. There's this massive hole there, and the reason that they called this the gates of hell or the gates of Hades is for centuries, hundreds and hundreds of years, in many of the pagan religions in that area, they required people to sacrifice children into that cave. They tossed into that rock cave for hundreds of years this unthinkably evil thing of tossing helpless babies into the pit to appease some demonic force or some idol, and that place was called this death pit, the gate of hell. And so Jesus brought his little band of 12 followers up to this place one day. And this was a defining moment, and Jesus asked them a defining question. He said, "Who do you think that I am?" Which is, by the way, the biggest defining question for every single life. What do you think about Jesus? And Peter, the leading disciple of Jesus, says this great, great confession. He says, "You are the Christ, the Son of the living God." And then Jesus says these world-changing red-letter words. He says to Peter, who is the lead disciple, the representative of the 12, he says, "You are Peter, and on this rock I will build my church, and the gates of Hades will not overcome it." Jesus is saying, everybody thinks that this rock formation area here is such a place of unstoppable power, this gate, this pit of hell and evil, and all those powers and all those empires that are so dominant. But on another rock, the rock of Peter, which is what his name means, and the confession he made that day, that Jesus is not just a great religious leader, but he is the Messiah. He is the Son of the living God. Jesus said, "On that I will build my church." It'll be a movement, a force in this world that the gates of evil and hell will not be able to prevent. And it's amazing because Jesus made this promise and this prediction to 12 simple nobodies in this upper Galilean city 20 centuries ago. In the face of all the dominant religions, the Roman Empire, the ancient pagan religions, the dominant powers in this military city, the dominant evil and hell. And he said, "You know what? I'm starting something that will outlast any of this." And you know, it strikes, when you think about how strange that was, that's almost like going to Washington, D.C. today. It's almost like Jesus shows up in Washington, D.C., and you've got the Washington Memorial Monument, you've got the Pentagon, you've got the White House, the Congress, the symbols of the greatest power in our world today. And imagine he's got 12 inexperienced guys with him, and he says, "You know what? This thing you and I are about to start is one day going to dwarf. This is going to be nothing compared to what I'm going to start through you." This is how incredible that moment is. Jesus says, "I'm going to build something, a gathering, a community, a movement that'll be unlike anything the world has known. It'll transform this world. It'll outlast and prevail over empires and civilizations that come and go, over man-made religions, and ultimately over evil and hell itself. It'll be unstoppable." That was Jesus' bold promise and prediction. So roll the clock ahead 20 centuries. Today, the church, this movement Jesus began, is the largest movement in the world. Nothing else comes even close. Over 2 billion people on this planet identify with the movement Jesus called the church. And now, if all you looked at was Canada or the United States or parts of Europe, you might conclude, like some people, that the church is on the decline, that it's fading away, that it's on the way out. But when you look at the rest of the world, which is much bigger, the exact opposite is true. Jesus' church is growing at a faster rate than it ever has. Its growth around the world is absolutely stunning. In Latin America, There are over 100 new churches that begin every week. The church is growing by 3.5 million people every year. In Africa, 100 years ago, there were estimated to be about 10 million Christians on that continent. Today, 100 years later, there are 400 million Christians in Africa. It's growing by 25 to 35,000 people a day. In China, at the beginning of communist rule 60 years ago, there were estimated only to be a few million Christians left after the church was almost stamped out by the communist revolution. Now today, there are over 100 million Christians in China, and estimates are in the next 20 years or so, there will be more Christians in China than the entire population of the United States. I read last week that one of the fastest growing churches in the world today is in Iran. Yes, Iran. See, that's the thing. One of the most striking things about Jesus' church is unlike other major religions that are primarily located in the place that they were founded, whether in the Middle East or India or China, the church is transcultural. It's found on every continent, in every culture, in every pocket of the world. And I know, I said I was going to get a little nerdy, but this is so significant. So let's talk now about Forest City Community Church. This part of the Church of Jesus in this part of the world. See, there's two things that are super important about this church that Jesus said he would build. Number one, the primary builder is Jesus. Jesus said, I will build my church. And I got to tell you, this is very comforting to me. It's comforting. Because if it was primarily up to people like me, it would be a disaster. Because I know people, and I know myself. And we're not smart enough, and we're not powerful enough, and we're not talented enough, and we're not wise enough. We're just not. And I can't tell you how many times over the years of Forest City Community Church that I've been grateful that the primary builder is not me, it's Jesus. But the second super important thing that Jesus made very clear to me is very humbling. And that is that you and me, flawed people, are his building assistants. The Bible calls us his co-workers. He includes us, he enlists us, he uses us in this building project. Now, let me just stop there. Because maybe you wonder and you go, well, I knew how I was able to assist in that building project and be a building assistant before, but now with COVID, it's so unclear. How do I do that? And that's a great question. Now, let me just say, it's a little different in the COVID era, but it still comes down to two main things. And I'd put it this way. It comes down to, number one, strengthen your mortar. Strengthen your mortar. You know, in the building process, certainly around here, there's two key components in most buildings. There's bricks and mortar. Right now, I'm trying to find somebody to rebuild my chimney because my chimney is falling apart. And it's falling apart because the mortar is getting brittle, okay? Mortar holds the bricks together. Your mortar, personally, is how you're connected and attached to Jesus' building, to the other bricks, to Jesus' church. And that involves things like Sunday morning. It involves community. It involves villages and Alpha and all these things we're going to talk a little bit about. But when your attachment is weak, and I think this has happened for some of you during COVID, your mortar has gotten weak. And when it gets weak, your linkage to the bricks of the building gets shaky. And I'm going to talk about some simple ways that make the mortar stronger in this COVID-shaped time. It comes down to that, but it also comes down to this other thing. It comes down to expanding Jesus' building. There's an expansion effort that Jesus includes us in. And I'm not talking about physical expansion right now. I'm talking about people, about Jesus' people is building. And by the way, this limited building physical capacity we have right now at our church is not really such a big deal because the church has always been primarily not a physical building, but a community of people. And we're still in the people business. Even during COVID, reaching and connecting more people to the love and the hope and the life of Jesus. So I want to pivot, and I want to do something a little unusual today. I want to walk through the primary ways that we're set up here at Forest City Community Church in the fall during this, what I'm calling COVID 2.0 season. And I've invited a few guests up for a little Q&A. and about some of the primary engagement opportunities here at Forest City Community Church this fall. And I've got a little interview area here on my side, and I want to first of all talk about Sunday services at Forest City Community Church, and I want to invite and talk to Ian for just a minute. Let's welcome Ian, shall we? Yes.
This is really weird.
Well, listen, Ian, you've been, and with me, we've been creating services for 27 years now.
27 years, yep.
And it's,
Yep.
and I just want to say what an incredible job. I hear it from people all the time who stop me in bizarre places and say, thank you for the services. The services online have been amazing. And so the team you're working with, you're doing a fantastic job. Thank you for that. Listen, tell me a little bit about how you're feeling about that. What's the same and what's different right now with our Sunday services and how your work and what we're doing to put these together?
Yeah, what's been really interesting is in the past 4 months now, I can't keep track anymore, but the team has really been doing the same things we do every week. We brainstorm to try and create really great content. We've got really passionate artists that love serving. As the limitations became a little bit more relaxed, you started noticing more faces on stage. I know in the early months you were probably getting tired of Siobhan and I and the kids, but it was a lot of fun. We love serving this community. It's where we thrive, and there were so many people online expressing just their gratitude just for those efforts. I mean, it's in us not to stop doing it, so it was exciting that we could still keep doing it even though things were very different and new, and we kind of moved to the online format. But we've overcome a lot of those challenges. Our technical people have just knocked it out of the park, and they're still learning and developing. But so for us, it's kind of in us to do it. It's part of how we serve. It's how God's wired us up, and we're just very grateful that we can continue to offer that. So
yeah. Cool. So the big switch that happened is now we have a live option, but our primary engagement is still online. I mean, that's our primary service where most people access our service.
Yeah. Again, it's exciting to see people coming back, and it's a little unusual, and hopefully we'll continue to see some progress in that. But online is really where we're focusing a lot of our attention now, and that's not to diminish what's happening here, but we have so many people that are able to experience Sunday morning with us. And again, all through the week, what is great is that our streaming becomes accessible to people kind of at any time. So it works for the schedule. We still try and encourage people to find a routine, because as people, we know if we don't have a solid routine, we can get a bit lazy. So we're just trying to encourage people to engage. We're making it as accessible to you as possible. And we just hope that you respond by engaging and finding a way to get connected to it. That's great. Our offering to you, and we're just hoping you respond to that. Again, we're encouraged. Paul writes in Hebrews, not to neglect the gathering together, and it looks different now. But when you think about it, if you ever had one of those moments where you stared up into the sky and were looking at stars and realized that there's people across the world potentially looking at the exact same stars, it's kind of a cool feeling. Well, it's like that with our stream. There are people literally all over the world experiencing Forest City Community Church in a new way, and we can all be a part of that. So it's kind of exciting for us. Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, so that's the encouragement for all of you is whether you start coming into the live area like we have, or whether you stay online until we get more clarity on the whole COVID solution. That's what we're encouraging. The other thing I would just say is if you are an online person, the other thing about that is you can watch alone, of course, you can do that. But what's also very, very powerful is to also create community when you watch. So you can bring people over, like invite family, friends, even maybe people who aren't churchgoers. I mean, invitational culture like the drama show. This has always been a big part of us. You can have like a Sunday morning brunch and then watch church. And so there's a lot of great options to have watch parties as well. So
yeah, and if you make a really nice brunch on a Sunday, we're usually done here at about 10 o'clock, 10:15. I'll come over and watch with you at 11. So
there you go. Fantastic.
Just send me an invite. That'd be great.
Thanks, Ian. Thanks for that. Awesome. Well, listen, before our next guest, I want you to just watch this.
It's couches and porches and kitchen tables. It's stories shared and moments worth remembering. It's hoping and praying and taking chances. It's jokes and laughter and shoulders to cry on. It's questions and answers and I don't knows. It's knowing you don't have to figure it all out by yourself. It's messy and imperfect. It's giving and serving and growing better together. It's life, and we weren't meant to do it alone. Life is better together.
All right, well, I want to welcome Nick to the stage. Nick, welcome here today. Listen, you got a new responsibility in our church, and it is villages. So how you feeling about that these days?
Well, I have a lot to learn, but I'm excited about it. You know, I love this video. It's so true. Life is better together. We're not meant to do life alone. And as we just saw with, Ian up here, our Sunday stream is important, super crucial to staying connected, but also we need more than that. You and I know this. We need more than just the Sunday morning service to grow in our faith. We need,
as gripping as our preaching is.
Absolutely.
More is even needed.
Yes, okay. Because we need a place to digest that material, right? We need a place to have relationships, have friendships, connect with people, and talk about the things that we're experiencing on a Sunday service together. And so, I'm excited about that. Kayla and I are also starting a brand new online village with young couples with young kids. And so we're excited to learn and grow with some people too. So.
Cool. So listen, what's the same about Village Life at Forest City and what's different?
So people are still going to have the same opportunity to connect with other people. And some of that's going to happen in person or it's going to happen online. Depends on the village and the host and what the people are comfortable with. Some of our villages I know are ready and eager to go back in person. Some are, a little bit more anxious still, so they are going to go with the online. So it's kind of up to the group, and I'm excited because I think it's going to be really good for everybody to just do as they're comfortable and stay connected.
Okay, so if somebody is newer to Forest City, or they kind of were in a village and they're not anymore, but if somebody's interested in getting into a village, either a physical or a virtual one, how do they do that?
The best way to do that is go to the app or the website, fccc.ca. There's a button right on the main page, and it's the Connect button. I want to connect to a village. And you go on there, you fill out the form, and then we get the email, and then we will work to place people.
Fantastic.
So,
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Thanks for that, Nicholas. Thank him. And we've next engagement opportunity I want to interview on. I want you to first watch this.
Life moves fast, doesn't it? Every day there is so much to fit in. But do you ever stop and think, what's the point of it all? Do you ever ask yourself, is there more to life than this? Alpha is a series of sessions exploring life, faith, and meaning. It's a space to explore the big questions, to say what you think, and hear other people's points of view. First up, there's food, then a talk, followed by a discussion. Each talk explores a different aspect of the Christian faith, and then in the small group, you get to say exactly what you think. The aim of the talk is to spark conversation, each week unpacking a different question. There's no obligation to say anything, and there's nothing you can't say. Seriously. It's an opportunity to hear from others and contribute your own perspective in an honest, friendly, and open environment. Why not try it out?
Well, hey, Nadia, I guess we're still doing Alpha, right?
Oh, yes, we are still doing Alpha. We had a spring Alpha that was online during the midst of COVID, and it was incredible. So, yes, we are absolutely still doing Alpha, for sure.
So, remind us for a moment, who exactly is Alpha for?
Yeah, so Alpha is really for the person who still has lots of questions about faith. They are not sure whether they're a Christian yet. They might even be a skeptic. They still have all the questions like, one of the videos is called Who is Jesus? And so this is really for the person that's seeking those answers to do it with people who are at the same place as them.
Okay.
And in a safe environment where they can ask all the questions they want. So that's who it's for.
Okay, so it's not so much for Christians looking for another opportunity, it's for people who are more at the exploratory phase.
Absolutely. So really it's for the person who still has lots of those thoughts like, am I a Christian? I don't really know. I was raised a certain way, but I want to explore this more. That's what Alpha's for.
Okay, so what's the plan in the fall? Because I was just watching the video, I love the video, and there's lots of food in that. Like, are we doing that?
Yeah, well, unfortunately, we used to have this really great opportunity to have a meal together, but everything has changed since our COVID time. So now we're doing everything online, and I've got to say, I was a little bit nervous about it, but in the spring, it proved to me a really great experience, and we're going to do that again. So we're going to have a huge Alpha, start September 30th, and it's going to be completely online. No food, but you can eat in front of us if you want. That would be fine on your screen.
Okay, so September 30th, there will be an evening one and a daytime one.
Yeah, we're going to offer 2 options this time. It'll be completely virtual. We have a daytime option and a nighttime option, and again, it starts September the 30th, and you can sign up on our website as well, fccc.ca.
Okay, yeah, and I'll just add my word to that. I was involved in the Alpha in the spring as well. I was blown away at how beautiful and powerful it was. And so want to encourage you, we are doing this big, massive outreach on it, but just remember that the most powerful thing is the personal invitation of somebody. So if you have somebody in your life and that you think this might benefit, invite them to it, because it is going to be a beautiful experience of engagement as well.
Yeah,
All right.
I can't wait to start. It's going to be awesome.
All right, we're going to actually I'm going to look at the next area here of involvement at Forest City Community Church engagement, and that is Young Life at Forest City Community Church. And I'm joined by Aaron. Aaron's going to come out here, and Aaron, have a seat on the stage. Tammy, stay here, and Nadi, get ready as well. So we have all of this young life at our church, and you have been leading our children's ministry for how many years?
17.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Well, and you've been doing a beautiful job at that.
Thank you.
So tell us, Aaron, a little bit about what's going on at children's ministry this fall.
Well, not what I would like to see happen, but anyhow, online we are posting videos and music for ages preschool all the way up to grade 5. So if you click on our website under the family resources, you can click on any of those videos and join us at any time. So that's kind of convenient for families. As well, Carolyn and I have been working so hard to figure out the regulations for reopening our rooms, and I am so excited to say that our nursery is actually opened, a limited amount of kids. It will be opened for the next few weeks. We'll see how that goes. And our goal is actually to try for October 4th to get all our rooms opened just to a limited capacity. So very exciting.
And then if people do come, same thing, they have to sign up online because we have limits we work within.
Yes, so if you go on to the partial reopening plan on the website, click tickets, there will be a child option on that. So you have to register, though, because we do only have limited spots.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, getting a little older, we have our student ministry director, Tammy. So Tammy, what is going on with student ministry this fall?
Well, last week we actually had our first live outdoor gathering, and it went really well. We had music, we had the ping pong tables outside, a campfire going, which was really fun. So next week on September 22nd and 23rd, we're actually going to be continuing an outdoor experience to start. So on the Tuesday night, we're actually going to be welcoming just our junior high students. So that's grades 6 to 8. And then on the Wednesday night, it's going to be for our high school students, grade 9 to 12. We're going to start there. And I know with school starting this week, we just kind of want to give some space for students and parents to kind of get into the groove there. And then maybe start on with some student ministry here at the church. But again, because this is an outdoor gathering, anything can change. We could have a downpour that day. If we do have rain expected, it will turn to an online experience through Zoom, and a link will be posted every day. So that's why it's actually really important to stay connected on our social media. We are on Instagram and Facebook, so for parents and students, please look us up and look for Forest City Students, and all of the immediate details will be there. So.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank
No
you,
problem.
Tammy. Nadia, have a seat in the spot. You're going to come back in here because, Nadia, you are involved with Forest City Young Adults.
Yes, I'm a young adult.
Okay,
I'm a young adult. No.
you're involved with them. What's going on this fall with the young adult community?
Yeah, so young adults, we launched a ministry at the beginning of the year, actually, for young adults, and it started and then had to stop, and we went online, and actually, so happy to say that we've had a really good group of people still coming out. And so we are launching again, and we're going to launch in person because we're finding that young adults really want to get together. And so if you're between the ages of 18 and 30, we're going to ask you to come out to our fall season launch, which is Monday, September 21st. And we can't wait to host it again, and we will be going Monday nights after that. So
fantastic.
Yeah. And we also have an Instagram and a Facebook page, so follow us at FCYA, Forest City Young Adults.
Okay, thanks so much
You're
for
welcome.
that. Well, listen, the last area I want you to be aware of is we're calling FCCC Responds. And it has to do with how we as a community are responding to COVID in our world and the needs that are out there. And I want you just to watch this video first. And we're going to try that again. And let's see if that's working. We need some visual. We need visual. Okay, the beauties of live events. Really what that is all about, I mentioned this last week if you were online or you were here, we're going to be doing something that I think is going to have such impact. Many of you know 6 months ago, just before COVID started and the shutdown started, we as a church partnered with World Vision, and we partnered to help especially the northern part of Malawi, which is one of the 5 poorest countries in the world. And we had a massive response of so many people in our church, 500 kids being sponsored, massive amounts of finances that as a church we're supporting in Malawi. But we're having this opportunity, and we're going to be doing something as a church to respond again, because if you think about poor places like Malawi, they have some COVID physically, but even more, these countries are being decimated economically because of the economics of this. And so we've got this beautiful, beautiful thing that we're going to be doing on October the 3rd. This is why I have Aaron with me. So we're going to be doing a 6K global walk for water. Tell me a little bit about that.
Okay, this is so exciting. I'm going to have a hard time even staying seated because I am so pumped about this event. It is going to be amazing. So what we are in the makings of creating an opportunity where we can come together as a community in person in our enormous parking lot here on October 3rd. And we are going to gather with our FCC community, and we want you guys to invite some friends, some family, co-workers, whomever, if you hear about it on Facebook or however you hear about it, we are inviting you to join us here to walk for water. So we are keeping in mind with the government regulations, we are having cohorts of 100 people. And just a little bit about what that morning will look like is we will gather on the parking lot. We will register. You'll get your number bib. It's all official. You'll go to the starting gates. We will give you a little bit of information on the route and maybe a map so you don't get lost, because we don't want that to happen. We will be starting out walking through the woods, so I do advise you to wear some good shoes because Birkenstocks don't work. I tried that. It was interesting. So we will go through the woods, in and around Lambeth, and then scoot around back through the woods and back to the parking lot. When you arrive back, you will be directed over to our medal station, where you will receive a medal for participating in our event and get some refreshments, and then you are free to go. Sadly, because of what's going on, we can't stay and gather because we have another cohort coming at the next hour, so we have to kind of eat and run, but that's okay. It's going to be
and
amazing.
People are getting T-shirts and all of that. Yeah.
So when you register, if you've gotten some donations or sponsors for $50 or more, you will get a T-shirt, and you will get that the morning of the walk when you register.
Yeah. So World of Vision has been doing this all over the place. It's a massive community event, and we're hoping to have hundreds and hundreds of people from Forest City who are part of that amazing day. There's going to be color and experience. It's just going to be just a beautiful thing. And the reason the reason it's a 6K walk is that in the developing world, the average person walks 6 kilometers to get their water every day. They walk 3 kilometers out. They walk 3 kilometers back. And so we create this thing called the 6K walk. But again, young, old, you don't have to be an athlete. It's going to be a fantastic experience. And you sign up online. There's a bit of a process to go through, but you sign up online and get yourself all ready to go.
Yep, sign up on the website at the top. There's a 6K for water, so you can click on that. We did put an instructional video just in case you get stuck on some of that. We are asking you to join a team, and all that team is the different times that we're starting. So whatever time works best for your family, sign up for that. Friends, let's just work together and make this happen for our families in Malawi. We just got to work hard together and raise as much as we can to support these people.
Fantastic. Okay, thank you, Aaron. All right. Okay, we'll watch the video now. Oh, wow. I'm so glad we were able to see that. Listen, remember that one thing I said at the very beginning? Unusual circumstances require and call for exceptional creativity. And we're committed to creativity and persistence in building this building project Jesus launched 2,000 years ago. And there's no doubt that COVID is causing a disruption in a lot of regular practices at our church, here at Forest City Community Church, and around the world. But I got to tell you, it's a very small impediment. It's a blip in history. Jesus' church has been building and has survived plagues and wars and genocides and famines and crises for 2,000 years, and it'll survive this. In fact, Jesus usually takes times like this and he builds in even more remarkable ways. So I just want to say this. I don't know where you are in your faith journey. Maybe you've been a follower of Jesus for a long, long time. Maybe you're just starting or you're rediscovering a relationship with God. Or maybe faith in Jesus and God is not even really on your radar very strongly right now. But I'm just going to say it flat out. I don't know of a single more significant thing that you can do with your life than to truly engage with Jesus and his movement in this world. Because every minute that you invest, every ministry you serve in, every dollar you give, every prayer that you pray, every life that you touch and bless as a representative of Jesus is making a difference in eternity. And you can't say that about anything else. That the movement of Jesus, the church, his kingdom is going to outlast. It's going to outlast your career. It's going to outlast your hobbies. It's going to outlast your family. It's going to outlast the government, political involvement, anything else. And if you know something better than to invest your life in, tell me that. If you know something that's going to have an impact 1,000 years from now that has anything of the impact that the church has, then just do that. Strengthen your mortar. Engage or re-engage in how you connect and you're part of Jesus' building, the church, this church. Participate and dial in and stream in on Sundays. And then make sure you have some Christian friends in your life, some community at a village or with students or with young adults. And then expand Jesus' building. Step into an alpha if you're early in your faith or you're still questioning. Or invite friends and family and spiritually interested people in your life to watch Sunday morning services or to attend alpha. Be part of our response to some of this crisis, the needs that COVID is creating in our world with the 6K Walk for Water. Keep being generous with your tithes and your contributions. Jesus builds his church, but he uses you and he uses me. And you just need to know you belong to this movement. You belong to this building that he is building, this church he is building. And there's a role in this that only you can play. So please don't miss it.
Just a little unseen, always on the outside looking in, just a little unsure, uncomfortable in my own skin, hiding in the shadows, looking on, holding out for someone I'll become, waiting on the words I've burned to hear for so long. You belong, the whole world is waiting, no one else can sing your song. You belong, the light has been chasing you, love's gonna prove it wrong. Open your eyes, breathe in the light, you don't have to hide. You belong, even on the inside. Everybody's longing to fit in, just to know we matter, bringing something no one else can bring. You can leave the shadows for the light. You don't have to wait on the sidelines. Go ahead and dream your wildest dreams. Never stop. You belong. The whole world is waiting. No one else can sing your song. You belong. The light has been chasing you. Love's gonna prove it wrong. Open your eyes, breathe in the light. You don't have to hide. You belong. Every single melody, making up a symphony, fearfully and wonderfully, making up a masterpiece. Take off the mask, shake off your past, stand up and join the dance. Shout every note, take every chance, stand up and join the dance. You belong, the whole world is waiting, no one else can sing your song. You belong, the light that's been chasing you, love.
Hey, those in the room, you can stand up right now for closing prayer. And listen, I just want to say to you this morning, whether you're in the room or you're watching at home or with friends, those words that Cheryl sang are so profoundly true. You belong. I think these are hard times for a lot of people, because I think a lot of people, and I meet them all the time, they just wonder, where do I fit anymore? And the one thing about the church that Jesus has been building, and he is still building, is there is a place for every single one who calls his name, who says, you are the Christ, you are the Son of the living God, to belong and to be part of this beautiful building project. And so I want to say a prayer for you in your life. I want to pray that you would be engaged or re-engaged in this beautiful building project that Jesus invites you and invites me to be part of. Let's pray. So Jesus, thank you for that amazing moment 2,000 years ago when you stood with 12 unlikely, uneducated men, and you said, it's hard to believe, but I'm going to do something through the likes of you that is going to completely change this world. And 2,000 years ago, God, 2,000 years later, God, there are unlikely men and women like us, and you continue to say, I will continue to change the world through you. I will build my church through you. And so, Jesus, I pray that in this fall, that you would give us the strength and the power in smaller but growing ways physically, and then continuing ways in online ways to connect, to engage in the building of your church. Lord, may we be a people that respond in this COVID time in compassion and hope and promise. And then, Lord, take our small efforts and build your church in beautiful ways. And we're going to trust you for that. And we know that we're going to come through this. And Jesus, we're going to look back and see all of the amazing things you have done. So strengthen us now. Bless us as we do that this fall. We pray it in your name, Jesus. Amen. Thanks, everybody. Welcome back. Welcome back to Forest City Community Church. The fall is going to be fantastic. Engage it.
And you cry and you pray, but you know at this pace you never will arrive. Well, I know in your heart you believed from the start God had a purpose he knit you together for. But life is pulled at the seams and you're unraveling, and you can't hold it together anymore. But God will, he will finish what he started.